Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the Season 3 premiere of Resident Alien. A great season premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, it's kind of interesting. Harry already had the day job as the town doctor, and now he's got his day job working for this Unit 5 and everything. And I think it's so interesting because Harry is all about doing things himself, which he's like, oh, I'm so much smarter than you. Obviously, Harry's always had that mentality in comparison to humans, but even more so in this capacity where it's like, oh God, you guys are idiots. Let me handle everything myself. He's not much of a team player. He feels like he has to be the one to do this. It's up to him to defeat the Greys and stuff, which obviously it's like, well, you doing this is slowing down work because you're handling it yourself. I gotta look up to see who that actress is that was beside the general in that scene, the one that was mouthing the words like "I hate you" to Harry. She does not like him. She looks so familiar, and it's bothering me. I can't remember what I recognize her from. But obviously, that mentality of working alone continues throughout the episode as Harry ends up convinced. Well, initially he was against it because it was actually Darcy and I think Kelly's suggestion that Asta goes out with Joseph because he showed up to have a conversation with Harry, which we got this interesting bit of information. I don't remember if this has come up in the previous seasons or not, but and there is a kind of like this galactic like law that an alien cannot reveal themselves or another alien to a non-alien being, which I think is so interesting because it's also like the fact that I guess that's supposed to be how the universe views humans. Like, it's like, so everything else out there in the universe from different planets are aliens, and then humans are their own category. I'm assuming, which is so interesting, because you would think, obviously, like, if you're a being from another planet, that's how we humans view aliens, but, like, that's so interesting because like the aliens are like, we're aliens, and then the others are the humans, and I guess that kind of leads to the whole why the Greys and other aliens look at Earth the way they do and view it the way they do and view humans the way they do. I mean, we've seen that with Harriet, like I brought up earlier, so it kind of makes sense. But I thought it was so interesting. It almost makes you wonder. Well, in Harry's own mind, I guess, by not telling anyone, for one, it's like he wants to continue working alone. He thinks people will slow him down. There's that element to it. But I guess in his own mind, he's thinking like, well, the less they know about everything, the more likely they are to be protected. So we'll get into some of that elements later on, especially with the Max and Sahara of it all. But I think that's Harry's justification for it. Why he wants to keep Asta in the dark. Because I was about to say, it can't be about breaking the law, because that law says letting a human know who you are as well. So there are currently 3 humans on Earth who know what Harry is, and that are alive. I guess technically 4 because of the alien hunter's son. So it's like, yeah, there are him, Darcy, Max, and Asta know that he's one. So makes you wonder, what would the punishment be? Would it be like those beings have to be killed, or would Harry be killed for revealing himself? I mean, it's like, no, it's more than that. I was stupid. There's actually way more than that, considering everyone in the general's like unit knows what Harry is. So never mind, it's way, way, way more than that, including the general or stuff. But tangents and all that aside, I wonder what the punishment would be for an alien doing that. Would it just be like, oh, those humans are going to die, they can't know of our existence, but also you have to die as punishment? Who knows? But kind of tying this into the, since I brought it up, the Sahar and Max of it all. Sahar believes that Harry's the one that killed the alien hunter, because it's like, right, he was found dead, so obviously he had something to do with it. Like, this is all your fault, Max, because you pointed him in the direction of Harry, and now they believe Harry had something to do with it because Harry lied to them, because they found his stun rod, which obviously we know him and Harry were working together at the end, but Max and Sahar don't really know that. It's actually really sad to that storyline, because Sahar's like, yeah, I got into this school in California. It's like a really prestigious school, but that means I won't be around anymore. That's why she was really pushing Max to open up his circle, to have other friends, because Sahar is his only friend, which is really heartbreaking. I mean, to be fair, they have a really complicated love-hate relationship, but it's like, Harry and Max are friends too, even though they have the whole back and forth where Harry's like, no, I'm not your friend, you're my friend. Like, not like it really makes a distinction, not that there's much of a difference, but in Harry's mind there is. So, but it's like, yeah, for one, he's not going to tell Max the truth because it's like, maybe on some level, just like Asa, he cares about him. I think he does. He just never would admit it. But I think there's also the element of, why would I tell a child, you're small and stupid and insignificant? Why would I tell you what's going on? Not like you can do anything. But it does bring up an interesting point that Sahar brings up, where it's kind of like, right, you are the only other person, I mean, especially here in Patience, that can see an alien for what they really are. You're very special, which Max looks at as opportunity, like, whoa, so that means I'm the chosen one. And she's like, well, I don't think that's, he's like, yeah, like, I'm destined to be the hero. And she's like, yeah, sure, because the world's safer in your hands. But it's like, yeah, if he could see Harry for who he is, it makes you wonder, could he only see one species of alien? I assume not. I assume he'd be able to tell. I guess he just hasn't run into Joseph, which if Joseph finds out that Max can see him for what he is, that'll be an issue. So Harry does need to warn him about it, but it's like, I'm sure Max is going to stumble across that on his own, get himself in danger, and Harry will most likely have to rescue him. And I'm sure it's going to make Max feel better, because I'm thinking for a good chunk of the season, he's going to be suspicious of Harry and end up kind of screwing things up, not knowing the greater plan that's in play here to go up against the Greys. So, which, Asta going on that date, which I love that whole scene where it's like, oh, it's this girl talk, I want to play, you go girl, like him struggling to say it. I don't know if that was just a character moment or whether that was just Darcy's actress Alice just kind of like breaking a little bit in that scene, because she kind of smiles a little and kind of just turns towards the guy. Like, I don't know if that was like legitimately like, no, that's just what you're supposed to do, or was that like her, like a moment that she kind of broke during the scene, but they were like, you know what, keep it. I'd like to believe it is. It's just like she put on like the cutest smile when he did that, and like the camera like cut to her for a little bit, and then like it cut to her view of like her looking towards Asta. But it's like, oh yeah, you can do this, girl. And he's like, yeah, they want her to go. Kelly and Darcy said I should go out with Joseph. It's like, no, you cannot do that, girl. And then it's like, no, you do that. It's like, oh, I'm glad you have your permission. It's like, yeah, who? That's my girl. That's my girl too. Who runs the world? Girl. Like, him struggling to say the word girl, or just like emphasizing it the way he does, is amazing. It's so sad because like Asta has not been on a date since Jimmy. Obviously, like that would kind of deter you. Like that's obviously the abuse she went through because of him. So it's like it's sad to know like this is her first date, and for it to be a gray alien. Like, it does seem like, even though he was trying to get close to her for the sake of learning more about Harry, which is ironic seeing Harry's using her for the exact same purpose, but on the flip side, it did seem like he might have genuinely gotten to know her in that moment where she was like, oh yeah, like when she also talked about leaving home, and like by the time she came back, she felt like part of her was gone. Or she's also like, yeah, I'm like two people, but also half a person at the same time, which even he was like, yeah, that it actually makes perfect sense. I mean, I get that. It's like, right, you feel like there's a part of you left behind when you leave. And even while you're back, you still don't feel whole, but you kind of feel like two different people. You feel a part of who you were, plus of who you are now, and the contradiction that can be as a human of just like being these two people at once and just not sure which one's kind of the real you. It's not you anymore, but it's you at the same time. It's an interesting human condition situation Asa can find herself in, but him understanding that it felt like a real moment. But then he was like, all right, let me play the script. My mom is named this, and my dad was a doctor. Like, Harry, tell me everything about Harry. So it's like, okay, it did seem like he kind of got swept up in the moment for a bit there. So he might end up being the gray alien that's not that bad. In fact, he might go a little rogue like Harry. I mean, Harry's capable of change, so can be so many other aliens. So Joseph might be the alien that ends up siding with Team Earth. Maybe he might ultimately end up really having feelings for Asta type of situation. We'll see how that goes, because obviously Asta's in a no now after, which I just love the sequence of events. She left the makeup thing at home. So Harry had to go retrieve it. He ran into Judy, who's taking a bath with her cat in Asta and Darcy's place, and then she gets busted by Darcy later and ends up being like, well, like, whoever told you about this means I'm better at keeping secrets than he is. So she ended up spilling the beans to Darcy. Darcy confronts Harry, smashes his surveillance equipment, and then they both rush over to protect Asta from Joseph, which I love the whole thing of, wait, you're tracking her just like me. And Darcy's like, yeah, but it's only creepy when you do it. Which is so interesting. I'm curious how Asta's going to feel about that. But I mean, also, it's sweet. It's also interesting, too, because you can actually draw parallels between Max and Darcy in that regard, where it's like, I mean, I was about to say it's not quite the same, because, like, Darcy's friendly enough with everyone. Like, obviously, her and Kate's relationship, I think, well, obviously, like, it hit a pit last season after everything, but I think they might be in a better spot now. But, like, her, Liv, Kelly, like, they're all friends. So it's not exciting, but it's like Asta means a lot to her. So you don't think that's going to go down that lane of them getting together, do you? Because I was also wondering if there ever be a Harry and Asta of it all. It's like he loves her, but I don't know if it's a friendship love. But I think maybe it's also more than that. I mean, it might be more than that in the regards of she's not just a best friend; she's his family, so that could be an element of that as well. We'll have to wait and see. That was always my thing of like, maybe that'll be a thing, but I'm also like, I could definitely see it not being a thing. But now I'm like, well, wasn't Darcy dating that dude last season? Did that not pan? I don't remember. Did that not pan out in the end? Because that didn't come up at all with this episode, so I'm wondering, did that not pan out at all? I thought they were in a better place when it was all said and done, or did she kind of break things off? I don't remember now. Either way, tangents and all that aside. But, I mean, Harry ended up learning a very important lesson in this episode, and that was like, right, working as a team, yes, like there's pros and cons to it, sure, but the fact of the matter is, if you have that right person by your side, they don't drag you down, they lift you up. He's like, yeah, every great person has their sidekick. Even Superman has Lois Lane, which is like, ooh, which is like, it's like, some of that misogyny came out. It's like, no, that's not his sidekick, that's his partner. There's a difference, It's like, sure, you want to be like Batman and Robin, sure. You even want to go, hey, here's Superman and Krypto, which I'm not saying that Asta is the Krypto in this situation, because she isn't a sidekick, she is a partner. But it's like, there'd be better examples to use, but even using Batman and Robin example would be weird, and using the Superman and Krypto situation would be weird. Even going as far as, I was like, I guess you could go like Superman and Jimmy Olsen, but still, it's like, don't relegate Lois Lane to just being like a psych. It's like, no, they're partners. But like I said, I think that's part of Harry's misunderstanding of like, no, Asta's not your sidekick, she's your partner, and sidekick does have that negative connotation to it. Like a lot of sidekicks don't like being referred to as sidekick. So, but either way, I just thought, but it's just like the realization and him thinking like he wants to save the world, but he will always drop everything for Asta because she means the world to him. So it's like this conundrum of, I want to protect the world, but I can't do that if I'm protecting you. But if I fail to protect the world, I'm also failing to protect you. So he was like, I was coming in here to kill you, but she's like, I'm not worried about it. You're never going to hurt me, Harry. I know you care about me. And it's like, don't worry, I'll help you. He was like, oh, so you're going to kill yourself? He's like, oh my God, Asta, you really are such a great friend. She's like, no, I will help you. You don't have to like use a microphone or whatever to like spy on me. I will willingly go out with Joseph to gather information for you. And it's like, that's actually nice. And it's just like, yeah, and it's just like people and them hugging at the end. I'm like, oh, that's super adorable. That's amazing. So That's really sweet. And kind of circling back to the Max and Sahara thing really quickly, kind of finishing that up. Sadly, she leaves by the end of the episode, leaves her note, and it's just kind of Max on his own. Like, once again, it's like he's got to like brave this as his own. Like, hey, I've got to handle this. This is my mission. It's up to me to save the day. But he doesn't have like his not only best friend, his only friend, and especially because him and Harry are in this odd spot. Like I said, because he thinks Harry's the bad guy. So that's going to be interesting to see where that story goes. And staying kind of in the Max lane of things, let's switch over to Kate and Ben. Which did we know last season that they were taking both of them? I think we saw them taking Kate last season, but I don't think we knew that they were taking. I can't remember if we knew that they were taking Ben as well. But yeah, they're both getting because I think when it came to the alien hunter and his wife, they only took. I mean, we know they took her and took their son, but I don't remember if they ever took the alien hunter himself as well. But yeah, I'm wondering why they're specifically doing it and why out of anyone did it. Well, maybe it's because Kate was pregnant and maybe that's what made them decide to do that. Or was there something else to begin with? Like, there's plenty of people you can choose, but you didn't. That's why I'm like, why this couple in particular? Which both of them know something's off, but they're not really quite aware. There's the whole thing with Kate and this owl situation. And ultimately, she ends up talking to Kelly and them, and it's like, ooh. I mean, it's like, it's kind of like this superstition of like, there's plenty of owls that come by and stuff like that, so don't think too much of it. But she's like, no, it stares at me. And I think it's Kelly. Correction, I was saying Kelly, it's Kayla. I was having a brain fart there. I also didn't realize the actress who plays Kayla, her name's Sarah Podemski. I hope I'm not butchering that. Did not realize her sister was Tamara. She's the actress who, if you've ever seen Coroner, she plays Allison on Coroner. I had no idea. I was like, but now I'm seeing them. I was like, oh, it makes so much sense that you guys are siblings. You do look a lot alike. I never correlated that in my head. I feel so stupid. Either way, tangents and all that aside, they were saying that the owl is kind of a sign of death, that there's going to be death nearby. And even the fact is, Dan found out about it. He was like, you need to like take this and you need to burn it in every room, not with like you need to use a match. And they're like, no, you'll be fine. And she's like, Kayla, will you come with her? She's like, oh, no. It's like, wow, that's reassuring. But it's like both her and Ben aren't really in the best place. Like, Ben saw the thing around her arm and the like bracelet thing that made him want to throw up. She's looking at the baby ultrasound on the cup and it's making her want to throw up. And they're just like, it's like that response where it's like, oh, someone about to throw up makes you almost want to throw up. That's going to be such an interesting storyline to continue as well, to see where that ultimately ends up going, where that ends up taking them. Kind of staying in the vein of the town and everything. We're continuing Liv and Mike's investigation into stuff. God, Mike and his weird stuff of who cleans off was a steel skillet or whatever. He's like, where does all the flavor come from? Liv's like, the food? He's like, no, it comes from the skillet. 10 years of food just kind of baked in, and it's just like, yeah, I think I'm about to be sick. And he's like, that's like washing your hands before you eat a sandwich. It's like that flavor, that hand flavor. I'm like, Jesus. It's just, I love every time you turn around, he feels like he gets dumber and dumber every season, and it's like, I love it. Also, because he's very, like, old-fashioned, like, you feel like you're not even a modern dude. Like, he's stuck on his, like, male misogyny bag, too, but it's like, because he's like, did you see that? Lena paid for breakfast and paid for dinner once last week, and it's like, oh, yeah, this is the worst thing ever, isn't it? It's like, oh, God. But it's nice to see they're in a good place. There's still a lot of shit he's got to figure out, obviously, but him and Liv are continuing their investigation. They're looking into, obviously, the alien hunter's death. Obviously, they know the 2 fake cops last season, so it's like, okay, like, we gotta be careful who we go to about this stuff. They ended up finding a fingerprint in the van. The photo is, if I remember correctly, that's Harry and the alien tracker. So it's like, if they can figure out who's in the other side of that photo, that's gonna complicate things. Probably gonna have to wipe their memories again, maybe, or might have to eventually bring them into the fold, because this is about working together as a team. So how many people are going to find out the truth about Harry this season and end up being brought to? I should also know I did not watch the trailer. It's obviously been out for a while. I just didn't want to go into. I wanted to kind of go into the season knowing as little as possible. So I did not watch the trailer. So I don't fully know what to expect from this season, storyline wise. Once again, that's not an invitation to tell me like, oh, this is what I don't want to know. Like I said, I just want to take it in episode by episode. I'm trying to limit how often I watch trailers. Cause I want to just kind of, like I said, know as little as possible with stuff. So. Because they are in the I mean, I was trying to remember. Didn't they end up? Because we saw it in the recap. Like, didn't they end up grabbing the alien hunter's son by the end? Didn't they get him at the end of last season or whatever? Because we saw him kind of getting beamed up in the recap, but I don't remember. Because that's what I was about to say. Like, I think they probably sent him off thinking they found him, sent him somewhere. Because Liv ended up looking into it, and it's like. The alien hunter's son, his therapist was killed like a day before or whatever. It was or maybe like a week ago. It was something like it was like pretty recent. Like he was killed. So I guess that like like I said that recap makes me think like I don't think that was something from last season in regards of just like him in general. I think that was supposed to be like the end of the season. I really wish I'd gone back because I don't remember what happened to him because it's like he's not with Harry and them obviously. Thought he was going like because the whole point was like Harry to look after him, but I guess they sent him off somewhere to kind of be safe on his own. It's like no one knows you're alive, you're fine. But if he got grabbed by the aliens again or not, unless he is stashed somewhere and I just don't remember where they put him or left him. That's gonna be interesting. I'm sure the show will eventually fill me in on those gaps I have in my memory about that. Also, I want to circle back to Darcy really quickly before I wrap this up. Not sure where her storyline's going to go this season. I think it's just kind of like, she's kind of on the spiral again because she's trying to pretend like everything's okay, and she's obviously lying to, well, at least Judy was kind of making it, implying that Darcy's lying to Asta about what she's really up to, because we see like because I think she was working on her drinking last season, but I think she's kind of falling off the wagon again because she wasn't in the right headspace last season because of everything between her and Asta. She even says like because she's like, oh yeah, like the paper saying like how much of a disappointment Darcy is because of how she bailed on the competition. And I think she even says like, she thought Asta was pulling further away from her, and it's like, you were lying to me about Harry. But now it's like, I know the truth. It's like, well, knowing the truth is probably why you're also drinking too, because you're trying to level yourself out with just, I mean, it's actually really heartbreaking because Darcy has like the most like has one of the saddest stories just because like she has so much like, as we met her parents, we recognize why she has such a low opinion of herself, considering her family. So, I mean, a lot of people in this story kind of very, like, bad and sad, not bad, like, sad backstories and stuff. Like, like, also circumstances being what they are. I'm trying to remember, we probably knew that about her mom. I just didn't remember that detail, like, her mom wasn't in her life. So it's like, I think I remember that because I feel like they have drawn that parallel before of, like, the cycle repeating itself of, you gave your daughter up for adoption, but at least you tried to kind of be in her life, but also your mom, like, who knows if she ever really truly made an attempt. I don't remember if they really ever covered that parallel. Was this our first time hearing about her mom in that capacity? Probably not. It's just maybe this is the first time it really, really, like, stuck out to me. I feel like, considering how long we've been doing, obviously, the Asta and her daughter storyline, that would have come up at some point. But maybe, like I said, maybe it did. I'm just not remembering. But anyway, my point was just like, Darcy's... I'm curious to see what ends up happening there, where Darcy's story ends up taking her this season, and eventually Asta's going to find out. The question is, like, under what circumstances and what the end result's going to be, So... either way, I'm excited to have Resident Alien back. I'm so excited to see where this season ends up taking us. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.